Hey, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Case openings? Case openings? Wait.
A ton of money from
is that
Hold on, it's my closing
they
thought.
actually, everyone's saying they ran out of 3 because they feel it's profitable.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Catalyst Effects, episode 32. And we have here Mizzy and Dith and Pirate Nation. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Mizzy?
Yo, Dith is amazing, man. I'm just kidding, but I'm excited to have the homie on the show. You know, it's been great seeing him in Pirate Nation and GLHFers as well. Fucking crush the Web3 gaming scene. How's it going, Dith?
Hey GM boys, thanks for having us on. Mizzy, I gotta get I gotta bring my avatar to life like yours, man.
Oh, I could hook that up, bro. I could hook that up.
Yeah, man,
Let's talk after the
looks
show.
sick. I'm
Yeah.
here like I'm too retro, man. This is 2D non-animated, man. Gotta level it up.
Hey, what's up, guys in the chat? Hey, Jackie, Forgotten Playland, what's up? Who's behind the account today? Is that Mikkel? The secret intern?
Yo, the other day I was wearing my shirt, and now I'm not wearing it today, and now Forgotten Playland is here.
Kusho, the fucking fully on-chain gaming maxi, bro. I told you we are gonna start fucking with this fully on-chain shit more with Catalyst as well. So, you know, promises were made and we're delivering. All right. BB, Beef Basic in the house. For those of you that don't know, Beef Basic actually has his own Catalyst themed sandwich in our like community. So if you want to actually check out the ingredients to that sandwich, go look at the latest OG magazine on Catalyst on Addis's account, and it has like the whole recipe and shit. It's actually fucking good. It's delicious. Titties in the chat. Let's fucking go.
Is that a traditional sandwich or like an on-chain sandwich?
It's a traditional sandwich, but
nice.
Technically it does have. We did put the recipe for the sandwich inside of one of the graphics that we put on chain, so it's both. But BB was like you know, on a couple of shows with us, as you know, in the audience, and I kept seeing his name like Beef Basted Sandwich, and in my head I kept hearing the sandwich at the end, and I was just like, "Fuck, man, we got to make a sandwich." So we made the
decentralize those sandwiches, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we made the beef-based sandwich in honor of BB, and he came up with all the ingredients and stuff. I was like, dude, what is your ideal sandwich? And he hit us with this like awesome steak sandwich, and yeah, it's like a part of our squad now.
Yeah, we saw Clouds had a video that he made, and that shit looked good. Like I've never had it before, but I want to try it now for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Enough about me rambling about fucking sandwiches. Let's get to it. Fucking, we do have to bring your GLH effort to life, though. You know,
seriously,
that has to happen.
Gotta help a brother out.
Yes, sir. So, you know, Hato, take it away, brother.
You know, I think everybody needs to know about Pirate Nation, right? I might not know much about it, but for the people that are watching right now, what is Pirate Nation in a nutshell?
So, I think in a single line, it's a really fun, accessible, fully on-chain, pirate-themed RPG, which anyone can get into. If you're like super experienced gamer who likes to min-max and optimize and figure out how all these game systems works, like the game will be interesting for you. And if you're a super casual gamer who likes to log in for 20 minutes, you're 9 years old or you're 50 years old and you're kind of just want to log in after a long day's work and you don't want to think too much, kind of appeals to all ends of the spectrum. And it's something we've been building for like a year and a half. The game's been live. We launched it in a very early state, which I think a lot of teams choose not to do. There's a lot of kind of building in a black box in this space where you can't try the game. They kind of, in the kitchen cooking it for years and years, and you can't try it at any point during that process. Whereas what we chose to do is like launch it kind of almost embarrassingly early, where there wasn't a whole lot you could do in the game. But the reason that we did that was because we wanted to build the game with the community. And our early players like really informed the decisions that we made and told us if we're going down the right path, or this works, this doesn't work. We like to see more of this, less of that, and so on. So the game's been live for 18 months, and it's only really been in the last 3 months that we've started to ramp it up in terms of player count. And I think, slowly more and more folks are hearing about us, and I can explain why, like, what changed in the last 3 months allowing us to do that. But yeah, so we've been around a while. We really focus on building a fun game. And, as I said, our goal is to make this game as fun and as accessible to as many different types of gamers as possible. We really have a mass market audience in mind for the game. We're not just trying to appeal to Web3 natives or degens. Great as that audience is, right? I consider myself in that audience, but for the game, we're really trying to build for a mass market audience.
And a quick question on that. When you talk about the game's genre, I do see that it's like a pirate-themed RPG, but you mentioned the word casual. So would you attach the word like a more party casual game or a more competitive casual game?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think so. Like a big focus for us moving forward is to figure out social features, right? Right now, there's a lot of people playing the game at the same time. Sometimes like thousands of people are logged in playing the game at the same time, and you can see that because if you go to our block explorer, Pirate Nation runs around on our own blockchain. You can see the transactions flying through. So other players are logged into the game at the same time, but there's not a whole lot today that you can do with those other players in the game at the same time. So that's a big focus for us moving forward. And one of the things on the near term horizon is that we have this like kind of big surprise game event coming up, where players will feel more of an opportunity to like team up in this event and do the thing together. But beyond that, we want to have, and we're kind of looking at a number of ways of doing this, for players to interact with one another in the game. For example, maybe when you're exploring on the high seas, you see other players' sailboats kind of flying around as they're kind of exploring different islands. So bringing it back to your question, I think the kind of I think we're at the very early stages of having a strong answer to that question, but we'll get there. And in the meantime, on the competitive side of things, there are leaderboards. There's a booty leaderboard. There's other things that players compete on as well. Maybe they're trying to hoard certain items, corner part of the market. So there's meta games around the core game as well. But if you're looking at like the single most competitive thing, it's probably the booty points leaderboard. And we just launched season 2, so people will be able to see their ranking pretty soon. We haven't revealed the points. We haven't revealed where people are rank wise, but that's coming really soon.
Really
gotta
like
get the booty.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're on the same page. I was gonna comment about the booty as well. I do think that's a great name, the booty leaderboard. I love that.
Real quick, Dith, I shared the broadcast link in our group chat. I know you wanted that link, so it's in there. Just a heads up.
Oh,
and
thank you, sir.
I'm going to shout out some people from the audience. Forgotten Playland account. I did not know it was always Mikkel. That's cool.
They're one and the same.
Yep. The more you know, the more you know. We got Mrs. Bones in the house. Let's fucking go. It's been a minute, Mrs. Bones. I hope you're doing well.
Shout out Mrs. Bones.
I hope your WASD fingers aren't too broken playing Starlight. This fucking guy. Your mic is cutting out, bro.
Oh, shut up. Oh, let's go. Is that better?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I can't shout apparently.
Yeah, apparently not. Hey, yo, Dith, yes, Dith if here.
What the fuck?
I can't ever see this name without thinking of Mike Tyson, bro. I don't know why. Like my fucking brain becomes like a million.
This is basically Mike Tyson's alt, right?
Yeah.
If here.
This is here.
Oh my god.
All right, to get back to the combo, you know what always impressed me the most about Pirate Nation is that they're technically like combat wise a TCG game, and they never branded that way, and that's what I fucking love, right? Like, it's an RPG game, of course. It's a casual RPG game. The ship battles, everything's going on, but like it's done through cards, but they never advertised it that way, and I love that because like it's not the core loop of the game, right? It's just an execution of ability. And I really, really, really enjoyed watching how they navigated that because I feel like as soon as anyone else in this industry has a card in their game, they're throwing out the TCG thing, and everyone's instantly like, oh, another one. So yeah, like whoever thought of not doing that, fucking genius.
Yeah, I mean, we really love the combat loop. We actually in our we kind of have an end of week kind of wind down with the team where we kind of retro the week, debrief the week, and share cool stuff people have been working on is shared, and people talk about wins and what was learned and so on. And we're also having like an internal tournament. So like one of the most important internal metrics for us as as a game studio building this game is actually our own team's playtime in the game. And what we've seen over time as we've built the game out is more and more of our own team are playing the game. And right now we have this very competitive internal competition. I got knocked out super early, like a noob.
Yeah, that's sucks.
Yeah, if we're at the end of every week we have like another leg in the tournament. People battling each other. So we really love the combat and all the gameplay stats. I mean, you get booty points for doing the gauntlet, right? Which is like the daily dungeon. You clear out the battles once a day. So people like the combat, but yeah, we were pretty intentional not to position ourselves in that category. It's not how we see ourselves. And I think generally, as we've grown the game and we've grown our community, we're being pretty thoughtful in terms of which which things to double down on and which kind of not to in terms of narratives and where we really want to kind of position ourselves in the landscape, right? This at this point over 1,000 games kind of under the Web3 gaming sort of title or genre. Even in fully on-chain gaming, there's now at least a dozen, probably more, maybe almost a couple dozen fully on-chain games being built at various stages of development, various sizes of community. So we're being pretty thoughtful, I think, in terms of what messaging we put out and who we try to appeal to.
Love that.
I think it's a very interesting point talking about how the team is progressing in the game. I've never really thought about like if you make a game and the team isn't playing the game, like not just for like the experimental purposes, but just to like see how they progress in the game and their experience so they can make a better product. Like I wonder how many teams in this space actually do that.
Yeah, dude. People are always like, oh, Catalyst should make a game or Paladin should make a game. And I'm just like, bro, I would spend all my time playing this shit. Like I would probably not be very productive as a gaming founder for that reason. I just play games all day.
I mean, if your team is playing the game and there's like an economy built around it, and it's like the game sort of, so to speak, is to beat the people that are building the game at their own game, that could be an appealing use case for Web3 that I don't think anyone's ever thought about. But,
yeah. We got a question from the audience. From a titties has asked, I keep seeing that approximately half of the team are previous founders themselves. How has this affected the messaging, adaptation process when marketing Pirate Nation? And on the flip side, have you experienced any drawbacks from so much experience being in the team? And if so, how did you overcome it? Jesus Christ, this is like a college level fucking question.
That's a short essay.
It's a really, really good question. So before Proof of Play, I was at a payments company called Stripe. I was leading a go-to-market team at Stripe that looked after a number of partnership functions, and one of those partnership functions was our relationships with large investors, private equity funds, venture capital funds. And so, really, a lot of the time I spent in the day job was networking with really smart investors, GP level, partner level in all these big funds. And when I told one of them, hey, I'm leaving to join this company, Proof of Play, and we're building like games on the blockchain, they run fully on chain, and it's just like, crazy bet that we don't know if this is going to work yet. That was like, that was, I think, 14 months ago. At the time that I joined Proof of Play, like, gaming wasn't, no one was talking about gaming. I think the floor price of Founders Pirates was like 0.05 ETH. And I told this GP at a large fund, like, you would have heard of them. Yeah, one of the things that really appeals to me about the company is that, like, it's full of former founders. It's full of people who've built companies themselves. And they asked me that question, like, is that a good thing? Like, is it good to have, people who are, maybe, what's the typical founder profile, right? Like, can be a bit stubborn, it can be hard for them to work in a team. It can be, there's some negative connotations, right, to being like a founder or an entrepreneur,
Yep.
which are kind of necessary in many ways, right? Like, if Elon or Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs were like, if their characters were different, maybe they wouldn't have built the kind of companies they did. But yeah, in of itself, to say like, hey, we have a company built up of former founders, it's not clearly a great thing. So that's why I think this is such a good question. And I think it's about the specific people that we have in the company. The first thing is that the former founders and entrepreneurs that we have in the team are all super experienced. We're not talking about someone who, spends 6 months on a quick crash and burn, pump and dump type startup, where they didn't really cut their teeth much as an entrepreneur and learn the hardships of it. We're talking about people who've spent like 3, 5, 10, 15 years building companies. And so, like, where they are on the maturity arc and the common sense arc and the like willingness to find, to be really collaborative and to be really solution oriented and to, um, and also to minimize like any of the, and I've worked definitely in teams where there's petty drama and politics and someone doesn't like someone like that, and there's just none of that in Proof of Play. Like, everyone's a grown up, everyone's really focused on like building the thing, serving the community. And so I think you're spot on in that inherently it's not a great thing for everyone to be in a company to have been a former founder. But in our case, as I think we have the right former founders, and there's just a really high degree of respect, skills, and expertise among those people, we're able to harness the upsides without the downsides. And I forget the first part of the question, which was also good.
The first part of the question was in this, college level, very well thought out question was how has this affected the messaging and adaptation process when marketing Pirate Nation?
Yeah. How is it affected?
And hold that thought. Think about it for just a second. I just want to shout out a couple people. Me Prox in the fucking house. Let's go. Always great seeing you, bro. And we have a new person with us today, GS Tyler. Welcome to the Kalos Effect. Welcome to Pirate Nation. This is now going to take over and continue to answer the question. Go for it, Dith.
Yeah. So I think, how does that affect? Well, the dynamic is that, like, everyone in this company cares, right? And in a similar way, it was kind of like I saw this at Stripe as well, where when people care, they're kind of involved in one another's work, right? So, like, I can lean in on game design. I haven't designed a game myself. That's not my core competency or expertise, but I play a lot of games, right? And I care about ours deeply. So I can lean into a game design conversation and be like, hey, I think this is a really cool idea. And some of my ideas will actually come to light, or it will kick off like a discussion. And then out of that discussion emerges the idea that we go with. It's the same on the marketing front, where, people in the team will lean in and say, hey, I think this is a really cool point about what we're building. especially like our tech folks who are doing, they're all the time they're doing some cool shit, which I'm non-technical. I've built products using no code, low code, but a lot of what they're doing is very, very advanced. And so I can easily like scan the engineering channel and I don't know what the fuck is going on really. And then one of our engineers will DM me or say, you'll tag me and you'll say, yo, actually, this is why this is really cool and really important. And I'll be like, okay, let me take that and let me translate that in a way that the Web3 audience or the degens will get it and be excited by it. And so it's very collaborative. And I think really where I have an opportunity and privilege working with this team is to synthesize all the input and ideas and with regards to marketing and narrative. I synthesize all of this that I get from both within the community as well as from within our internal team, and then I try to optimize that and figure out like, okay, if there's 10 things that we could say, what are the three most important and what is the order, and then how should we say those things. So that's like actually one of the most fun things about what I get to do.
For sure. I love that answer. Speaking on community real quick, there's a beta release going on right now. How's the community reacted to that? Has there been good feedback, bad feedback? Have you guys taken that?
Are you referring to the game as a whole or something specific?
Yeah, the game as a whole, the upcoming season 2, the season 2 that's now out, all that stuff. Like, what changed from season 1 going into season 2 for, the noobs that don't know? And how has the beta experience since season 1 been like for you guys? Since Booty came into the mix, basically.
So the game's been live for 18 months, and what we've been doing throughout that time is just making it better every week, right? Shipping updates, upgrades, introducing new things into the game, expanding on existing game loops and improving them, or adding completely new ones. And so I think we're like on average, we've shipped one game update every week since launch. So like on the whole, the game is getting better and better, and we're always working at that. What changed 3 months ago was that we moved the game onto our own chain, which is called Apex, and it's the first of many chains that we'll launch. Pirate Nation already has like incredibly high volumes of data and transactions, or data in those transactions being sent through really every minute, every hour, every day. I think yesterday we crossed 1.6 million transactions. And so for context, when we get to about, I think, 2 or 2.2 million transactions per day, we'll be doing more transactions per day with just Pirate Nation on our one chain than like the base blockchain or Arbitrum. We're already doing like twice of Blast, right? So there's a lot of transactions and data in those transactions being sent through by our players simply playing the game, right? They don't even know they're causing these transactions. It's just all happening under the hood. So what changed 3 months ago is that we launched this chain Apex, which is the first, and it's already seeing super high volume. That's what's allowing us to actually grow the community. So before we launched this chain, we were kind of capped on growth because we were running on other chains and that gas was costing us too much, and we kind of had a ceiling. We could only take the game to about 5,000 active DAUs, daily players. And so that's changed now that we have our own chain, and we actually have a way to scale the game across multiple chains if we need to, and we probably will need to, right? Which means that Apex is the first of a few chains that Pirate Nation may ultimately run across at the same time, which is really cool because we haven't seen an application work at scale across multiple chains at the same time, where as a player or as a user, you never feel it, you never have to bridge, you never even know that that's going on. So we call it the multi-chain. Anyway, I digress. Back to the question. Now that we're on our own chain, we're able to scale, we're rapidly growing the player base. And so we're getting like more data than ever before about how people are spending time in the game, what they like, where they are spending their time and where they aren't. So it kind of gives us an indicator of what they like and what they don't. And so that's going to inform our roadmap to a much higher degree than we've ever had, right? We've never had the luxury of so much data. We've had to kind of really just stay really close to the community in the trenches and rely on anecdotal feedback and what people are telling us in the chat. And now we have both. We have both of those things, right? We can stay really close to the community, get their input, as well as have all this data. So what's coming in season 2? Well, maybe one more thing before I finally answer the question. I'm terrible at this shit, I swear.
Well, we
I'm
don't
always
fucking
tempted
care,
to.
man. We love the bombs that you're dropping and shit, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, you already answered so many of my follow-up questions.
Yeah.
All right. Good. You guys are too kind. You just like wish this MF gets to the point. Okay, so the other thing that's happened, right, over the last so we just launched the pirate token. The TGE happened, pirate tokens live, gems went live in the game. Explain what that is. But TLDR, like, it took us there's a lot of work that goes into that, right? If you want to do a TGE properly and think around how a token kind of actually fits in to your app or your game and actually has a reason to exist, then a lot of work has to go into that, a lot of planning, a lot of work, and a lot of resource. So I think, whereas now we've been growing the team and we have more data and more resource than ever before, that also took away a lot of our focus, right? Actually kind of building out, for example, the booty leaderboard. There was like a number of products that went alongside that. One of them was this, I think we did it with you guys, right? The Discord social campaign, where we actually had to build a product where we could track if people are, in various Discord servers that aren't our own, are they using a pirate PFP? Have they added pirate to their name? And if they have, we're going to give them booty points. So that
Yeah,
was a product,
we did that at Paladin. That was fun. That was
right?
fun.
And there was this like act like a pirate quest, and you have to like, yarg and shit. And it was definitely like, it was a mixed bag in terms of like, we learned a lot. It was a mixed bag, I think, in terms of some servers executed like really, really well. They got it. It was like really, well spirited, and others kind of turned into, it was a little bit of a mess. But the most important thing was that we did something different, right? And so, overall, very pleased with how that went. But it did mean, yeah, we had to spend time building products like that, which aren't core to the game. They're kind of core to the booty campaign, but not core to the actual Pirate Nation game. So now going into season 2, we have all the framework for this stuff, the leaderboards and everything that we built around the booty leaderboard is like set up and ready to go. And so a lot more of our focus and energy goes back into the core game. And so, as I said, one of the big things right around the corner is this surprise event where I think the teaser for it will drop soon. So yeah, this is the teaser of the teaser.
Yeah.
That will drop soon. And then, yeah, we're basically just going to focus on this is what I'm most excited about, right? We have like kind of all these new community members and players and eyes on us, because I think when when you have a token in your game economy, it kind of expands the addressable audiences, right? Because there's people who in this ecosystem are sometimes more interested in a token or a piece of tech than the actual app or the game, right? And so what I'm most excited about is that all these new people will actually have a chance to see how quickly we build and how well we build as a team. We have like kind of, as I say, more resource and more momentum now than ever before, and so we'll be shipping all this cool new shit. And one of those other things coming in season 2 are more player-owned buildings that are able to kind of produce a yield from other players. Meaning, we already have the first building of this type in the game. It's called the Shipwright. So let's say Mizzy has a lot of resources in Pirate Nation. You're going to build a shipwright which allows other players to come to your island and upgrade their ships on your island. And when they do that, you charge them. You're able to set your own price for them using your shipwright, and you collect the resources from them, right? So these are kind of like mini player-owned businesses, and we'll be launching more of those in the game, which essentially kind of like fosters this player-owned economy where you have different meta games you can play. You can be just like really trying to power level your pirates. You can be trying to complete the gauntlets as fast as you can. You can be trying to like corner part of the in-game economy, and kind of make resources off of other players, or you can be doing a bit of all, right? So I think the game will become deeper and ultimately have different parts of it that appeal to different kinds of players over the course of the season.
I have a really quick selfish question because
Real quick before you ask, I just want to shout out a couple
Oh
things.
yeah, go ahead.
Shout out Solo, the Wag Me fucking legend. Great seeing you here, bro. Joao Silva. I believe you can get a referral code around the space somewhere. Catalyst doesn't have its own referral code, I believe, but maybe we should change that. We'll send that your way. I'm sure somebody will get you in contact with you for a referral code. Rob GMGM. And yeah, now Hado, ask your question, and then I'll follow up with Addis's question from the chat.
Yeah. So my question is, you're kind of going over the details of like how players are playing a little bit, and my brain just went to GTA RP. I don't know if you're familiar with the genre, but has there been a desire or maybe an incentive from you guys to make content around what's going on in the game? Maybe doing some role playing, maybe just some silly content of like stuff that's happening on chain. Because like if there's some cool things that are going on, I think as a spectator, it would be a very cool idea for people to like tune in and see what's going on.
That's funny because my last spaces with them, I was like, you guys should do more like pirate like streams or some shit. Like
like
people like cosplaying the fucking pirate vibes. Like it would hit.
Maybe they're on camera dressed up as a pirate. Maybe they're just doing a pirate voice on stream or something, or making videos or whatever. Like, has that ever crossed y'all's mind at all?
Like I wanted to play it on Rect and then have a pirate challenge.
So there's probably more of that stuff that happens that people don't get to see. There's one weekly call we have, like 12 people on it, where actually it's pretty cool. Google Hangouts has like a set of filters, right? Just like Snapchat or any of these apps nowadays where so we all load up the pirate filter and we're all there in like full admiral gear, eye patch, big fucking hats, muskets and shit. Look, the thing is, my wife says this all the time. She's like, I can't believe my husband gets, she hears shit that I say on calls like, hey, we need to have maximum booty on this one, or like I'm talking about like kind of, all these funny things in this world, which honestly, it's amazing, right? Like we get to have a lot of fun with it. I think it's a lot more interesting when we get to lean into that side of the fun with the community. And prior to season 1 kicking off, I think we were doing this a lot more and a lot better in more visible ways. One of those, for example, was we had this like in-game gacha box. It's called the Wishing Well, and a lot of our early players tried it, where you could toss in an item called a worn copper coin, and it kind of runs a gacha, and you can win like valuable shit from it. One of the valuable things you could potentially get from the gacha well is like a founder's pirate, and I think they're like, approaching one ETH again. So people love the Wishing Well. And one of the things that you could get out of the Wishing Well was this is like a good example of, we're still doing a lot of things that don't scale. We create an item where if someone wins that item, I can't remember, it's called like a scroll, a scroll something, but you as a player could basically like name a quest in the game. And so I think 2 or 3 of the quests in the game have been named by our players. One is by Ronan, who's like one of our top 3 players, like a very, very early power player and kind of whale in our community.
I know Ronan. That's cool.
Yeah, so Ronan's like named his quest. Might Be Murdoch has named his quest. And then we had this event called the Forgotten Gods, where there were like crazy shenanigans. And some of the stuff that came out of that in-game event, the Forgotten Gods, has now made it into the official game lore. So we started doing that, and then as I say, we kind of got caught up in season 1 stuff and making sure the leaderboard worked right, and we were working with all these partners and all that stuff. So now that we're back to like season 2 and we're focusing on like all this gameplay stuff, we'll be doing a lot more of that. The pirate shenanigans and making sure that we get to like, are you really living if you're not role playing as a pirate? Come on. We'll do a lot more of that.
Oh man. Yeah, Kusho. Content creator brain. Like when you see a game like Pirate Nation, you realize all the possibilities of just straight up debauchery, right? And like that's why I also wanted to introduce Pirate Nation to our community through the catalyst effect, because I see a potentiality for me and Cloud to act like a bunch of fucking dumbasses. I mean pirates on Friday on Rec, because we like doing role play on that show anyways. Like we do a lot of that type of stuff and skits and shit. So I think like having like a Pirate Nation dedicated challenge would fucking hit.
If you ever need a pirate, call me.
Hell yeah, I would love to have you on the show, dude. And Addis's question now, right? I recently saw that. Yeah, so you were talking about the multi-chain aspect earlier, which I knew about, but it's great actually like hearing it out loud. So yeah, there is a lot of cool shit going on with that side of things. I guess Addis wants to know if this is going to be using standards from Wormhole, or if this is going to be in-house built.
So there's this really funny way in which like product development can happen at proof of play. One is a very very sort of intentional, strategic, pre-planned, road-mapped way, which to his credit, Adam Fern, our head of product, is very good at. He is one of the said former founders in the business, who he was like early at Cash App, and that scaled to be, I think it's still the largest consumer finance app in the U.S. And he was like in the founding team. There was like 4 or 5 of them, and he was one of the guys that started Cash App. So a lot of our product roadmap is like very intentional, strategic, thought out in advance, and led by Adam. And then there's this other part of our kind of product development and roadmap that kind of happens as we're going and as we're building, and we discover that like, hey, like what we need in terms of a solution on the blockchain, or a piece of tech or a product, either doesn't really exist, or whatever exists is kind of, it doesn't meet our use case, or it's not performant enough. That was actually how we end up building our own VRF, right? Like all this stuff in Pirate Nation, when you go on a quest or you open a loot box, and there's like a piece of randomization that needs to happen, where we determine, okay, what's in the box, happens in real time using what's called a VRF, a verifiable randomness function. That's actually a really good example of like, we were using a mainstream, like off the shelf solution that this like really big crypto company offers, and we're like, this is too slow and too expensive for us, so we're going to build our own. And so this is the second type of like product development that happens, where we discover like, hey, the thing that's out there, that is meant to do the job that we want it to, doesn't work well for us, it doesn't suit us in one way or another, and so fuck it, we'll build it ourselves. And so in this
That's some
case,
balls, man, because VRFs are rough.
I love that. I love that you got to just do it yourself, man. Like it.
I mean, it's pretty crazy the number of really cool things that we've ended up building as a result of that. And I mean, some of those are actually in the Pirate Nation published its light paper, right, going into the TGE. So some of what we have in there, it talks a little bit about proof of play infrastructure. Some of those things are literally because of that. Like, we didn't want to, or we didn't plan to build something ourselves, and then it just so happened that like there wasn't anything else that we could use, so we had to figure it out and we had to build it ourselves. In the case of working across multiple chains, it was actually one of the first pieces of tech that we built, and we call it mirroring. And the most obvious way people know that we use it in the game are with the Founders Pirates, right? Founders Pirates are NFTs that live on Ethereum L1. But if you own a Founders Pirate, we will recognize that you own it and let you use it when you play our game on our chain, Apex, which is an L3. And you never need to bridge it. You never need to like sign transactions or do anything funky. Our mirroring tech using an Oracle recognizes like, hey, the same wallet address owns this asset on L1, so we're going to let you use it on L3. And so it's really, really awesome for the user. It's like the best experience possible. Um, if you buy a new Founders Pirate, it doesn't work like instantaneously. There's like a couple minutes where our Oracle is getting new data from the chain and it sees a new owner owns that Founders Pirate, and then we reflect it for you on the L3, and you can use it on the L3. So mirroring plays like a really large role in this kind of multi-chain future, right? Where you as a player will play the game, earn items through your gameplay, and different parts of the game, different game structures, different systems within the game could be running on different chains within our network, and you'll just never know. So no, we're not. It's not going to be Wormhole or Layer Zero, or we speak to these teams and they're cool and building their building interesting things, but we have in-house tech that's doing the job that we need, and that's scaling really nicely. And I actually think that other teams have already started asking us. We receive more demand right now that we're able to accommodate, but I think as time goes on, there'll be a point in time where we start opening that up, and other teams can get access to the stuff that we're making as well.
A lot of good stuff in that answer here. I want to call out some comments real quick. It's crazy that Hado is having the same idea Mizzy shared on the PN space we did last week. You had the exact same idea, bro?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Content brain, man. Yep.
Oh shit. We're on the same page. Jackie says arg. I don't know if that's a pirate reference or just frustration.
Yes, that's a pirate reference. And we have a funny pirate story. Her mom once dated a guy that reminded us of a pirate. So we would always whenever her mom would invite us over, we'd always make a fuck ton of pirate references and no one understood why. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
We also have Kisho saying, Catalyst Pirate Nation dedicated channel. I'm in. Let's fucking go, man. Let's fucking go. We're gonna take a quick little word from our sponsor break, and then we'll be right back, guys. So we'll see you on the other side. Alpacas! Now to have your attention, today's episode is sponsored by DeFi Land. And on DeFi Land, you can play Alpaca Dash. Alpaca Dash shatters the mold of ordinary idle racing games. Dive into a world of strategic depth with a vast array of tactics to conquer any environment. Unleash your alpaca's unique strength and craft the perfect skill combinations to dominate the race course. Every competition is a thrilling odyssey bursting with stunning visuals and an electrifying soundtrack that fuels your epic showdown. The unexpected awaits at every turn. Prepare for heart-pounding comebacks that will keep you on the edge of your seat from the starting line to the checkered flag. Are you guys ready to unleash your inner champion? If so, head on over to almightyalpacas.com and start racing today. Almightyalpacas.com. Almightyalpacas.com. Man, I really let my beard go on that one. Holy crap.
You're looking like a motherfucking pirate, bro.
Hey, what are you trying to say, bro? I'm watching you. All right. Let's get back to it, everyone. Pirates of how do you say that?
Penzance. It's a movie. The guy that I mentioned that we would troll, I used to say that he looked like one of the guys from that movie. It's not relevant. Let's go.
Alex also says whoever is on rec next week needs to wear an eye patch. That's facts. That's facts.
Hell yeah. Yo,
now,
Cloud would kill me.
Yeah, speaking of Cloud's killing us, he would kill us if we didn't ask this next question here. So the Jolly Roger shop, right? Loot boxes that can only be purchased with Pirate. What has the response been for these? Are there any metrics or numbers you could share? Because Clouds absolutely loves anything to do with loot boxes.
Yeah, I mean, so what we were very intentional about was making sure that once the Pirate token was live, gems went live immediately, and very quickly. Gems are a hard currency in the game, which are non-transferable, and it's kind of a proven model in mobile gaming, where like Clash of Clans would generate over $1 billion in annual revenue from this model, where you can buy gems in the game, and it's not pay to win, but it's pay to kind of accelerate, or to, if you're time poor, you want to catch up, and so you want to do quests faster, you want to reduce cooldowns and so on. That's what you'd use gems for. So we made sure that gems went live literally the moment that the pirate token did. As soon as claims opened up, you could use the pirate token to purchase gems in the game and use those gems in the game. And then a couple days after the claim opened, so this week has been a massive blur, by the way, because it's just been so much going on. I think it was yesterday we dropped the loot boxes. No, it was Friday. Sorry, yeah, it was Friday. We dropped the loot boxes, and TLDR they sold out like almost immediately. The there were two boxes, the Jolly, which was a smaller supply, and the Poly. So the Jolly is like the more evil version of the parrot. Like he's got kind of got the Matrix scrolling text, and he's got the red laser eyes. And the Poly version of the parrot is like the much sort of more mainstream vanilla. Is nice, bright, colorful, happy-go-lucky parrot. And so the Jolly loot box was the smaller supply. I think it was 1,500, and it sold out like in under a minute. And then the Poly loot box, I think, sold out in 5 minutes.
Damn.
So it went really, really quickly. And it was kind of a couple of things, I think. One is this was the first time we introduced Pirate to the game and did a shop drop with it. So that was kind of a different variable. Would people be willing to be interested to spend Pirate to get said items? Turns out yes. I think one thing that helped there is that we built some tech where even if you'd staked your pirate, you can spend from stake in one transaction, and it doesn't affect your multiplier. So I think that helped. I think if we didn't have that and people would have had to go and unstake and it was like clunky, then maybe sales wouldn't have moved so quickly. And then the other thing is, as I said, in the last 3 months, we're now on our own chain. We're scaling the player base significantly. So we haven't done a shop drop with this volume of players in the game. This was the first one, and I think the last shop drop was like 4 months ago, maybe longer. So it was a great data point for us. I think, from our side, yeah, it's a success, right? These things, there was demand for them, and they sold out very quickly. I think from the player side, maybe they sold out too quickly. There were folks who were like, they wanted the items, and then they couldn't buy them from the primary sale, and then you could go and buy them on the secondary market, but there'd already been kind of a bit of a markup by the players who'd bought them. So yeah, I mean, we learned a couple of new things, and we got this data point from where we're at now in terms of the size of the player base and the fact that you can buy with Pirate. So we'll take that data and what we've learned into future drops, and we have some like sick things coming. Combined with these social features as well, I think people's interest in kind of in-game flexing will reach new heights. So so we got to make
In-game
sure
flexing
that
is everything.
oh yeah, totally. I mean, like why play games if you're not gonna flex or
Yeah,
teabag or do
fuck
any of
yeah.
these fun things?
I mean, like I recently had an altercation on the timeline, right? And people were like, "Yo, you roasted that dude." Like, you guys don't understand how bad our team chats fucking are, right? Like, we're like shit talking each other in our team chats all the time. Every Saturday morning starts with a nice 10-minute roasting session, and we're waiting to be able to get like skins and in-game flexes to take it to like the next level, So I'm fucking excited for any time anybody's talking about like in-game flexing. Sorry, I just had to jump in there.
I feel you. Like honestly, when I play, I still like most of the games that I play are on PC, and part of the player experience for me is the trash talking, the flaming, and the funny thing is, it can get pretty brutal, right? Like, there's some random
Oh yeah,
stranger on the internet that you're like shit talking to death. But actually, I quite like and respect and appreciate when they shit talk me back, because that's what I'm looking for in that engagement. And so, actually, by the end of the game, like, GG, you're like, this was super fucking fun, and there's
exactly.
absolutely no hard feelings. It's just such a funny dynamic for me. And like in gaming, it can be absolutely brutal. This person is like, you're slinging every insult under the world at them, under the sun at them, and then come the end of the game, you're all buddies again. Within Pirate Nation, that's we don't really see that. That's more what I have going on when I play I don't know, Counter Strike or the finals, or those kind of games, which are more known for it. So I don't think with Pirate Nation it will reach such levels of brutality. I think we're still we're still on the very safe side of the curve, where there can be some flexing, there can be some competitiveness, but it's still very collaborative. It's still very, very warm and cozy as a community to be in. At least for now, right? We're still very much at the early stages of like cultivating the vibe in the community. So there's no extreme trash talking within Pirate
It's-
Nation,
just
but
let me in there, man. Don't worry.
He's gonna be like, Avasti!
No, but I love the vibes that I've seen from Pirate Nation. It is very cozy. And speaking about collaborative, Charlie in the chat asked about another World Boss event. I know you guys have some World Boss shit going on coming up. So yeah, I would love to hear that. Yeah, like Kusha was trash talking me when we were on Spaces for Pirate Nation the other day. So like, the culture's coming. The culture's coming.
yeah. I mean, it is really fun when things get competitive, right? Like, if it's not competitive, doesn't matter. So
Mhm.
there's an argument to say that like it's all kind of like in the grand scheme of things, it's an important piece of having people care and engage and actually want to be the best and do the grind and so on. Anyway, World Boss. Yeah, so I don't want to spoil any surprises. Like the cool thing though is like the last time that we did a World Boss, like our very early players participated in it, and man, like our game was just nowhere near where it is today. Like the combat system was incredibly basic. Just the mechanics and the dynamics of the event itself were also very, very simple. Um, Yet people had like so much fun. Like the people who were there will look back on it super fondly. It's like that version of the game was all we knew at the time, and so the spirit of the event was there. And so what we're very excited about is when the next world boss comes, how much further along the game has come, how much bigger the community is, and just really how much more of a like a spectacle it will be. I think it's going to be super, super, super fun. And for anyone who's like not yet playing Pirate Nation, the World Boss event, like we haven't said what it is or when it is. So now is actually a great time to get involved. If you join the game now and you kind of learn the ropes in the next few days, and then more about what it is and when it is coming.
I think someone needs to make a fan version for Pirate TV or Pirate Nation TV, and then the World Boss could be televised, so I could tune in and see the whole event. And someone like broad, I really want to see like that side of the game. I don't know. I really like. I want to spectate all the stuff going on chain. You know what I mean? Like I want to see the culture that's being built from all the stuff that's going on. That's
Yeah,
what I want to see.
I think what I do think, and I had actually tweeted, 4 months ago, after I first heard Dith on a space, that the next Ronin was going to be a fully on chain game, and I was talking about proof of play, Pirate Nation, all that, and I meant that in a way of impact on the industry, not necessarily like, oh, they're gonna get a billion fucking market cap. And I wasn't trying to do it from like a speculative route. I was trying to do it from like before Ronin and Axie and after Ronin and Axie, gaming in Web3 completely changed. And I view Pirate Nation and Proof of Play as the same thing in the sense that it really gave me hope in fully on-chain gaming. And like seeing that speculation, like you're saying, all that stuff, not necessarily speculation, but like content come to life around Pirate Nation, I think really helps push it even further, right? Where people can immerse themselves more with like the W's that Pirate Nation is having, the events that Pirate
Yep.
Nation is having.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Totally.
it's
Like the opportunity for us around creators is actually quite different, I think, than a lot of other games in Web3, because historically, without a doubt, creators are very important, and the games that see success, figure out a good way to engage creators. But in the case of Pirate Nation, we don't need to build like a creator suite or an API or something like that for people to come in and build within the ecosystem and extend the game, mod the game. All of that can happen natively, right? That is the superpower of building fully
That
on chain.
exactly, and that's actually what I was gonna say. Like, I think the biggest content creators for Pirate Nation, similar to Ronin, will be born inside of Pirate Nation because of the modding community. And I really wanted to get more into that because I love, like, I read through the white paper and I love what I read about the modding community, and how you see that taking shape overall in Pirate Nation. Like, starting with content, but then feel free to like expand.
Yeah. Well, it's already started. I mean, even in the very early days, like, kudos to there's been individuals and there's been teams as well. There's been the likes of, we have Enjoy and Sky are building Gauntlet Racing. We have Easy Snipe was the guy that built the first public shipwright directory, which is actually something we were going to build ourselves. But he, as soon as we launched the shipwright building, he kind of like steamed ahead and launched his own directory, and we're like, awesome. Now we don't have to build that. His thing is what the community are using, so that allows us to move faster. Then we have like larger teams like GG Quest, who are building like quests and actions, competitions, incentives as kind of a meta layer around the game. And other teams as well, right? There's more that I won't name, that are cooking and building and leaning in and like ultimately trying to think about in very similar ways that we are, like, how can they create something that deepens the player experience for those that are enjoying Pirate Nation? How can they make our ecosystem more engaging, and just somewhere where our players want to spend more time ultimately. So what happens like from here on out? Well, we launched our first version of our developer docs like a few weeks ago. We need to improve those. They're kind of okay. We call them V1 for a reason. They're pretty light. So we'll update. We're working to update our docs. And what we want to do over the months ahead is lean in more and engage these teams who are building stuff for Pirate Nation. Support them with what they're building. That will probably eventually even take the form of things we do like grants, coming out of the ecosystem tranche of pirate tokenomics. So all of this is in the months ahead, and I think what we're going to do is probably kind of wrap it up under a bit of a program, and actually have try to build a good experience for builders who want to interact with us and with our game, and have an idea and they want to come and build it. They feel kind of supported and enabled with that. I can't really understate our appreciation for the people that did this in the early days, because they did it before there was any specific incentive or even a structure to enable it. So I mean, yeah, the ball's already rolling, and for us now, the next step is to kind of up level it, enable it, package it up, support it. So we just take it, we take it up a notch.
Oh, sorry. I thought Mizzy was going to speak. Miz, you there?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I was sending out a message because we're coordinating something on the back end here for our guest.
For sure.
No, I mean I love hearing all the way that you guys are thinking about enabling, more modding within your community. I had seen some of the early stuff, like the directory. I thought it was brilliant, and it was very validating to see for me as well, because I'm always telling people, like, if you cook and people see that you're cooking and you enable other people to cook, like, that's the Web3 culture to me. Not many people are willing to, I guess. I don't really see a risk in it, right? Because if the mods and shit suck, then you just, like, no one uses them, A lot of people have like this level of control over their games or their ecosystems where I guess they lack almost like the freedom to just want to say fuck it, like let's let people build on top of our game. And I would say out of all the things that I've seen from Pirate Nation and Proof of Play, it's my most favorite thing because it's like the most Web3 native thing to me is that like enabling the community to really just like build with you.
It's basically open source, right? Like if
Yeah,
you think about
exactly.
yeah, it's basically that's what if you think about the early days of open source software and just everything around that, what we've seen with platforms like Android or like Microsoft, like Ballmer's, classic developers. And I think we're already starting to see a bit of that, right? With people just, as you say, taking the initiative and going like, oh, so nothing's stopping me from doing this. I don't need to ask for anyone's permission. I can just come in and build some cool shit. Um, we're already seeing it, so it's exciting, and I think that's like kind of a really important um, piece that needs like when you look at the fully on-chain gaming thesis, if that piece comes out of like the theory and becomes more practical and there's real examples and numbers to those examples, um, then I think a lot more teams will start to become interested in fully on chain because the trade-off becomes a lot more real, right? Everyone knows it's very difficult and it's kind of slow and it's new and like what the fuck, like we have to figure all these things out. But when you start seeing those teams come out and build this cool shit and it helps the game progress, that's when a lot more people will have the aha moments and be like, oh, okay, maybe it is worth it. So yeah, it's very important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Hado.
Yeah, quick question. Charlie did say earlier when mobile.
Well, we have an alpha build of mobile already working, and the front end of the game, like the GUI, like the interface that you see is built in Unity, which makes it very easy for us. It's kind of already kind of mobile ready or mobile optimized in that sense. So there's not a specific date I can share, but we're not too far away from it. I think like many startups, the question becomes, if we could choose to focus on this like tomorrow, and we wanted to get out as quickly as possible, we could. But where should we prioritize it, right? Like, there's other stuff that we're working on that's also really important and that may warrant prioritization ahead of it. So, bit of a politician's answer. Um, the cool thing is when mobile launches, that's when we're really going to push very hard on player acquisition, and it's going to be the time that we start onboarding a different player persona than what we have so far. The vast majority of the players that we already have in the game are kind of somewhat Web3 native or already Web3 enabled. And there are examples of like people who've brought in their uncle and their little cousin Jimmy and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. But by far and large, most people who've come to the game, let's say 80-90%, are kind of Web3 native. Whereas by the time mobile goes live, um, and we're in app stores and the rest, the kind of players that we're going to bring into the game are people who don't understand or care what a blockchain is, never owned any crypto, um, don't know what a wallet is, and so on. And so I think at the time that we do that, there's probably some changes that we'll want to make to the onboarding flow and bits and pieces of the game experience. So when mobile, soon-ish, let's say, but not immediately.
All right. Hope that answered your question, Charlie. We're going to go through some more comments here, and then I'm going to kick it over to Mizzy. I trash talked prior to GG Quest PvP tournament and then got clapped.
Yeah, you gotta have more conviction. I didn't roast you, bro, because you're Catalyst Squad, and I didn't want to do that to you on the space. But when you trash talk, bro, you gotta have that conviction. You gotta have that. I'm inherently a mid gamer unless I've talked a sufficient amount of trash before, and like the stakes are on the line, right? For whatever reason, I'm mid at best at most shooters and shit.
Yeah.
Unless that happens. You see that? Like if I were to get into a lobby with Hado right now, I'd fucking destroy him.
No, but I
Exactly
tell
We
you,
know.
that.
I respect anyone who trash talks before the thing has started, because
Yep.
like the very toxic trait is like you start trash talking when you know you're gonna win, like you're 80% through the match, and then you start trash talking. No, no, no. You
No,
you
no.
gotta do the gentlemanly thing, right? Like Kusho, right? Like take it as it comes when the match starts, and if you've hyped it up, trash talked in advance, if you get wrecked, then you just gotta own that.
Yeah,
Kusha
see, I
also
have to
said,
trash
oh,
talk so much because it's the only way I perform. You get what I'm saying? I have to put myself in such a bad spot that I have no other option but to perform. And
Yeah, I
that's
get
where I
that.
go. That's where all my stats get buffed. And because everyone's like, they put the arrow on my back, going into the event. They're like, bro, if you don't win or do at least well, we're gonna fucking destroy you. And I'm just like, all right, man. You gotta have conviction in that trash talk, Kusha. You gotta fucking go in there, paint yourself into a position, put yourself into a position where you're gonna get roasted if you fuck up. That's how it works for me.
That's the way.
get you some comments here. FOCGs are like Lego blocks that anyone can build on. Absolutely.
That's
Charlie
the best
says,
way to explain it. Like you're five for sure.
I need those dumbed down explanations sometimes. Charlie says, looking at the data on rollup.wtf, is Apex Chain, there's a lot of code here. Pirate Nation doing more daily transactions than every L2 right now.
I don't think we're doing more transactions. So rollup sorts by gas per second, which in terms of performance and scale of the chain is probably the right metric to sort by, because not all transactions are equal, right? In terms of their meatiness and what's actually happening in that transaction. So if you look at gas per second, then yeah, proof of play is right at the very top by a significant margin. But if you sort by just transactions per second, the TPS column, then you'll see we're at like 19 right now, which is, yeah, more. Ethereum's at 13, Blast is at 12, Arbitrum 1's at 20, 21, 22. But base is pretty high, right? Base is at 40. So, when we double our player base, we'll be doing more than base. And then we'll be doing the most transactions per second of any L2.
All right. And then Addison says, being a fully on-chain game, have you faced increased difficulties to getting the app on store or getting on the app stores compared to other games who are able to work around some of the requirements, such as taxes?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I mean, there's probably more that we can share about this later. There's not much I can say just yet. I think what we have going for us is that, coming back to this, who are the team and what have we done in the past? Something like a third of a third of the company, like half of the founders in the company, have either been at companies who've uh, uh, built or looked after another mobile app that was already launched. So the process of launching a brand new app or maintaining an app that's already in the app store is kind of well within our wheelhouse. And we've already begun the process months ago of engaging teams um, who've launched their own crypto apps and had to jump through like hoops and figure out like how they can comply with requirements in those app stores, including, I think, some of those apps are like outright allow you to trade coins and things, so have much more stringent requirements, at the interface of crypto and finance, more so than the interface of crypto and gaming. So, as I say, we'll probably be able to share more about this, and maybe actually, um, like package some content around it, like recommendations or tips or how tos and that kind of stuff later down the line.
All right, love that answer. That was a very good answer there. We also have Kusho here saying, my girl plays Pirate Nation and I had no hand in helping her set up the game. That was my all-in moment.
That's awesome. I mean,
Beautiful.
that's what we think. It can be even smoother, right? Like the onboarding experience is like, it's okay. It's like pretty it's come a long way. I think it's just pretty good right now, maybe like 6, 7 out of 10. But we can take it to a 10 out of 10. Like no brainer, right? Anyone who is on any device, coming via any referral source or finding us via any sort of channel is able to get into the game in like 1 or 2 clicks. So I think, yeah, it's awesome feedback, but know that we want to make it even better.
Sounds good. Onboarding experience is everything in gaming. Go ahead, Mizzy.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to the mobile, not the mobile, but like the App Store question that Addis had. I really liked how you said at the end, like even potentially creating tools to assist other builders in this space. Like this is more of the collaboration I'd love to see. Like I know a fair amount of it happens behind the scenes. With like the games that I advise, I hear of all the other, founders and developers that they're talking to. But I think even open sourcing knowledge would take Web3 gaming very far. So I'd love to hear that. If there's any way we could help with something like that, man, just let us know. Because we just
Yeah,
really want to see the
love
space
that.
go forward.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate that offer, guys. We may very well take you up on it. I think right now, I mean, as much as possible, we try to build in public, and the kind of the good challenge or problem that we have is sometimes there's more content or stories that we want to tell than we actually have bandwidth to. That was definitely the case during the course of season 1 of Booty Points. Like I was like, hey, let me, we ran this. It was basically an experiment, right? To see, can we run a social quest campaign on Discord rather than Twitter, right? The traditional, like, ever since Portal launched, it became like the known formula, like, yeah, run your thing on Twitter and get people to change their profile, their names there and their profile pics there, and get them to spam a ticker and so on. And we were like, let's try something new. Let's go on Discord. And we learned like so much cool shit that I'm actually still at this point kind of overdue to like write about, package up, and share those learnings, share the data, and let folks kind of consider if you want to also use Discord, or maybe someone does this shit on Telegram or something, right?
Yeah.
But so there are these stories that we want to tell, that we have a bit of a backlog for, and it's not because we don't want to tell them. It's actually just because it takes time to do that, and there's other things competing for our time. So as much as possible, we want to open source, not just the, hey, here's how we're building the game and the updates, and we lean in public roadmap, but actually all this other stuff, all the other meta games and things around what we're doing. Yeah, we want to tell those stories. So I think now that the TG is done, we can catch up a bit and maybe get some more of that stuff out.
I do think that you went to the right place. I mean, Discord is built for gamers, so that's definitely where you should gone. I agree.
Wait till you hear how he minted GLHFers, man. It's actually really sick. But
I mean, that was a lot of my thinking, right? Like, hey, there's
Yeah.
this greenfield opportunity where no one, like, everyone's fighting for like attention on the Twitter timeline, and no one is thinking of Discord as a place where, like, if you're looking for legit gamers, so TLDR of the GLHF approach was, hey, let's just look at when people created their Discord account, because all the people that came into like NFTs in 2021, you'll see that like their accounts were created around that time, 2021 and 2022. And all of us gamers, we were using Discord since 2015, 2016, 2017. It's not a perfect formula because, some people are younger or they only created a Discord account later. Sure. But, I when we started, I took a sampling of people who I knew were legit gamers, and I saw like, oh, all these people like created their accounts pre 2020. That's why I remember looking through a number of Paladins people who had applied for the GLHF Mint, and I was like, hey, uh, it's very, very clear that you guys have been gaming, like this heuristic works. You guys have been gaming for a long time. And I'm like myself, I'm an early Discord power user. Discord is also a customer of that payments company I used to work at, Stripe. And I actually think there's a tremendous amount of stuff that they could do with their platform. Imagine if there was like a Discord native marketplace, for example, for items, and people could trade cross servers, cross communities, and so on. Like, it doesn't actually make sense that we all go off into these third-party marketplaces, right, to find and trade game items, or that we have to do it in this very like, very basic, like, hey, I'm going to go into a trade channel and say, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, or Z, and then you have to wait for someone to reply. So I think there's a lot of cool shit that could be done with Discord, and with Telegram as well. Obviously, like everyone's talking about Telegram games now. So yeah.
Yeah. And before we get to the next part here, the content offer with us, man, it's not like some weird shit where we're trying to like one up you for like a bag. I generally do think that this space needs to do more open source learning and educating, because we would go so much further if we just did this kind of stuff. So like I would love to really like link up at some point soon and see how we can help you guys like get that knowledge out there, even if it's in the form of video, articles. I don't know what it looks like. I know Addis also offered Addis asked in the comment section here. Catalyst is all about the culture, and this is an aspect of the culture that we've been really dying to get into, as far as like educating people and pushing the needle forward from an information standpoint.
Like
Let's
Addis
do it.
said, it wouldn't
Let's
be
do it. I'd
Catalyst
love
if they.
to.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd love to jam with you guys on this stuff.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. I love it. All right. And appreciate the flowers as always, Addis. Fucking,
Thank you. Addis.
You also drive the space forward, and that's why we love you. All right, bring it up, Hadisimo.
Is it time? Time. All right. Boom.
All right. So, at the Catalyst Effect, we like to make on-chain gaming cartridges, where we kind of create like a fan art piece inspired by the PS1. For the game that's on the show or the project that's on the show. These are a free mint that are full, they're collectible. You can collect it with your email, you can collect it with your wallet. But we wanted to make this in honor of Pirate Nation, and they will play a role within our ecosystem where, anyone that claimed these while they were free will be getting, a benefit.
That looks so sick.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I love the retro vibe.
Yeah, they will be getting a benefit once we release it. But for now, it's, a collectible novelty. Shout out to my brother Damien, who I work on these with. He and I always cook in the lab and go back and forth and tweak things. And sometimes he'll handle more of the creative side. I'll handle more of the actual art making, and we flip-flop around. I love working with my brother. So, shout out Damien. These will be available for 2 hours. You can claim it. It's in the link on the Catalyst account. The latest post that we have is actually pinned, so go for it, collect it, and if not, I'm just saying it's free. You're gonna end up coping one way or another, because I'm kind of an asshole, man. I make sure people
the shit out of this mint.
Fuck yes, go for it. But no, we can kick it back to the show. Thank you for the flowers. I'm glad you liked the art. We just love doing like retro. That's why when I saw GLHFers, I was like, yo, this fucks, because we also like retro themes and kicking it back old school and shit.
Love it. Looks super dope. Thanks for doing this, guys. And yeah, it's been amazing to catch up with you. This was a really nice way to round off an epic week. So thanks for having us on.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Yes, sir. Do you have any final thoughts, any final messages before we, end the show here and let everyone get back to their beautiful Sunday or Monday, depending where you are in the world?
Father's Day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's never been a better time to be a pirate. Let's leave it at that.
Motherfuckers.
Yo, this has been a fantastic episode 32 of the Catalyst Effect. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your days, and we'll see you guys next week at the same damn time. Peace.
I actually became a father this week, so happy Father's Day to me.
Shit.
Not literally. I just trolled the fuck out of Jonah, so now I'm his dad. But later, guys. Peace.